All right, I want to welcome you guys to podcast 24 of the CrossFit Grandview podcast. This podcast is going to be surviving COVID-19. So I thought we were a little bit overdue for a podcast, but I wanted to have something to talk about. You know, the last month, there's just been a lot in the air, and I didn't have anything definitive to talk about. It would just been me saying, I don't know what we're going to do. And now that time's kind of passing and I've had more time to kind of gather my thoughts, I thought it was a great time to address you guys. We've been in this for a while now. So I know some of you guys are getting stir crazy or starting to lose some motivation in training. So I thought this was a great time to throw something out. So I'm shooting this May 1st. And, as of today, our stay-at-home order got extended to the end of the month. But this month, they're going to start opening up some retail, and we're going to see how things are going. A cool thing is what I'm getting to see is how this looks in some other states where they did open gyms up now. And I'm getting a good idea of, what it's going to look like in the gym when we do get to open. So what we've been doing on Fridays, me and the staff have been having staff meetings through Zoom, and we're discussing what the gym is going to look like. We're planning and strategizing, and we're prepping for it. So, one thing we did do is we ordered a ton of hand sanitizer stations that we're going to have placed all over the gym. So as soon as you guys come in, you can hit yourself with some hand sanitizers, and they're set up everywhere, so you guys can use them throughout your training sessions as well. The way we're planning on setting this up as well is taping off squares that when you guys come to class, everyone will have their own area with equipment, and you'll have your own equipment. You won't be sharing any equipment, and you'll, the one thing is we won't have just open signups. I'm sure they're going to give us a certain number, or we'll have to have some sort of limit to the class size. So you guys will end up signing in, but you'll have a spot with your own gear, with a spray bottle and a fresh rag every class. So you guys will be able to, work out and then sanitize your equipment. We'll also be walking around fogging everything down in between classes. So we're going to try and make this environment as safe as possible. Make sure we're sterilizing everything every day. We're talking to the cleaning crews about extra cleaning and things like that. So the gym is going to be a super duper clean place. One thing that will be a little bit of a pain in the butt is when we get going, there's a few moves that, at least for the short term, we probably won't be able to do. Things like rope climbs are going to be really tricky to, work into the program and clean properly between people using it. So we'll probably shelf things like rope climbs and maybe some sled drags and things like that for a little while. But eventually I'm sure we'll be able to find a way to start to creep those back into the training program. Just know we're getting everything prepped for you guys' return. Crossing my fingers June 1st. Again, though, don't feel any pressure to come in if you don't feel comfortable, or if you're, part of the population that might be a little more vulnerable. Not only are we going to keep our online training going, we're going to plan on scaling that up. Okay, so it's going to be cooler, it's going to be better. We're going to add more things to that, more content, a lot of variety to the training, and more support from your coaches as well. I'll get into a little bit more of that later. Another thing I want to address is just some annual events that we typically have coming up. We're certainly going to have to shift around. Summer Shred is one that typically starts mid-May. And it's outdoor workouts. It's something that, in my mind, I even played with. I feel like it could work right now. That being said, I'm not trying to get any sort of group together right now while everybody is on a stay-at-home order. So we want to wait until that stay-at-home order is lifted. and they're allowing people to gather in any sort of group. When we do get the go-ahead, we are going to start that summer shred pretty much immediately, and it's going to be outside. Social distancing is going to be a big thing, so we'll make sure everyone's spread apart. It's outdoor workouts, which I think is pretty much the safest thing we can do right now. So I think summer shred is actually, one of the first things we can get going, and we'll just make sure people aren't close. We'll limit numbers. If we have to spread out 2 groups between a couple coaches, we'll do that. But I'm really excited to get that going as soon as possible. So we're probably looking to start that in June. Again, I want to comply with all rules and regulations, so I'm not going to jump the gun or try and work around anything I'm not supposed to. Murph. So Murph is always done on Memorial Day. We're more than likely not going to be open yet. What I tentatively want to do is move Murph to July 4th. So just done at the gym. Now, of course, a lot of you guys, if you can find a pull-up bar, or you want to do it on your own, I think that's awesome. I think the gym event, though, I think the 4th of July is a great time to do it. When I first did Murph, I remember the first time we did it at the gym, we actually did it on the 4th of July, about, 9 or 10 years ago. So I don't know if it was always a Memorial Day thing. I can't remember how it kind of moved to that, but we originally did it the 4th of July, and I think this year it's a great time to bring that back to the 4th of July. I think by then, more people will be comfortable. We'll also run that in heats in a way that we're not all jammed up on the rig. So I think that date will be a good one to target, and we'll be able to properly train you guys for it. So whenever we do Murph, I like to do a little prep and training for it. So we'll definitely be prepping in class, getting us all ready for that. And then at the end of summer shred, we'd love to have some sort of a pool party or a summer party, if possible, to cap that all off in the summer. Again, we'll have to figure out what that looks like. I mean, we might not be at a pool. We still do have the pool rented out. Somewhere we can socially distance and adhere to all the rules, but I think, getting back to gathering and being around people will be really cool. Again, we're going to really make sure that we stick to all the rules and regulations there, but I am planning. I'm trying my best to plan all this stuff out and get back to as much normalcy as possible, this summer. I think that would be really good just for morale in general. I think when it's, 85 degrees out, we're not all going to want to, be sitting inside watching Netflix and doing all that. I think it would be great to get outside and try and get together. So the way I kind of want to finish the podcast today, and this won't be a super long one, is just talk about the training. So right now we're finishing up week 7, and we'll be moving into week 8. And week 8 is going to be the last week that our format really looks similar to what it does now, just day to day, week to week, where we have Tuesday we're doing our run, row, or bike, and then our arms and things like that on that day. So right now there's a bit of a pattern. The whole pattern's going to change a little bit. Okay, so starting week 9, you're going to see some really different stuff coming at you. Of course, we're going to be doing a lot of the dumbbell stuff still, working on the tempo things, but it's going to look different. So a couple things you can expect. We're changing the format. You're going to see, basically, on a lot of the workouts, you're going to see a big superset of 3 to 4 exercises followed by a WOD. So that's going to be the format on probably about 4 of the days. You're going to see some days where you're going to have just a straight WOD, just like our bonus workout days. Those aren't going to change too much. One thing I'm going to add a bit to this is I'm going to start to add some pull-ups and some things like bench dips a little more frequently. Couple things, and I'm going to post this in the private members group. Getting a door hanger pull-up bar, they're widely available still. I think even Rogue still has there. It's a really heavy-duty, high-quality one. But the cheaper ones start at $30. But getting a door hanger pull-up bar, if you haven't done a pull-up in 2 months, getting one of those and having some resistance bands, including even the hip bands, will really help add some new layers to your training. And again, I just posted a resistance band, a couple places you can get those. I do believe Rogue has them back in stock. But I posted some other places you might be able to get them as well. But getting that door hanger pull-up bar, some resistance band, and then some glute bands, which are kind of like those small ones that we use in class. All pretty inexpensive stuff all in. You can get all this stuff for under $100, and it can add a ton to the training that we're going to be providing. So starting week 9, I'm going to add some more options with the bands, with pull-ups and things like that into the training. Of course, I'll just have simple like, hey, if you only have a pair of dumbbells, things like that to use. But I do recommend, especially if you're sticking with this training plan, maybe adding some of that to it. Another thing is to watch that accommodating resistance video. I'll be adding some of that into the preview videos, some of the accommodating resistance, but that can just give you an idea of what I'm talking about, and it's a lot of fun to add that resistance to the dumbbells and then just to your body weight as well. I just did today's workout, so it's Friday. I did today's workout and used a lot of the accommodating resistance stuff, and it was super hard. I just had like one dumbbell doing tempo squats with an X setup on the bands, and it made it super duper challenging. One thing too, what I'd love to hear from you guys is if there's anything that you guys need from us, or there's like an idea you have, or a way we can serve you better, just let us know. You guys are what's keeping us in business right now. The harsh reality of things is, this week's been a tough week for me. Just looking at the landscape of CrossFit around, I had two pretty good friends close their gyms this week, and that was really tough to see. We have a really strong community, and all of you guys keeping your memberships active and doing this training and posting to Instagram is really just fueling this thing. And we're not going anywhere anytime soon. And you guys believing in us, supporting us, posting about it is going to really drive us through this whole crisis. And again, we're here to serve you guys. Don't feel shy to add videos to your True Coach programs so your coaches can evaluate them. Don't be afraid to ask us for any sort of help or any sort of goal setting that you guys need. If you have an idea off the top of your head that you're like, I think this could really help. Like I've only got a certain bandwidth. Like I'm open to, doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to implement it, but I'm open to all kinds of ideas. So, please just communicate with us, let us know, and just know that we all really appreciate you guys. I'll try and set these podcasts up a little more frequently, maybe bi-weekly, and just try and communicate to you guys everything that's going on. But that's about it for today. I'll see you guys later.